morning, everyone. Tell a story of a guy walking through an airport and he sees a Buddhist Zen monk selling hot dogs. And the sign says, hot dogs, $1. So he's hungry, he goes over, he says, I'd like to have a hot dog with everything on it. And he takes out his wallet and he hands the Buddhist Zen monk a $5 bill. And the Buddhist Zen monk takes it and puts it in his register. He turns to the Buddhist Zen monk and says, where's my change? And the Buddhist Zen monk looks at him with those deep eyes and says, my friend, change must come from within. This week's Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu seems to have a breakdown. The worst case in the entire Torah. The Jewish people are complaining incessantly. They don't like the food, they remember the meat, the fish and the cucumbers and the leek and the melons. They're romanticizing how good life was in Egypt, and they're complaining to Moshe, yeah, all we got is this man. In Egypt, we remember the fish and the watermelon, all the wonderful things we ate there. And Moshe Rabbeinu, I hate to use the word, almost like explodes, and he turns to God and he says, why did you do evil with me? Why did you place the burden of this nation on my shoulders? Did I give birth to them? Did I have to carry them like a mother carries her infant in her bosom? And he goes on to say to God the following words. He says, if this is my fate, kill me. Put me out of my misery, but I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. And the question is, why did Moshe Rabbeinu, so to speak, come to this breaking point at this juncture? I mean, he didn't have an easy career from the get-go. I mean, he had to face down Pharaoh, 10 plagues, splitting of the sea. I mean, he had a lot of challenges. He seemed to always have the resilience to deal with tough situations. And even the Jewish people in Shemos, they worship the golden calf. He doesn't break down over that. But suddenly, at this point, he seems to have lost his ability to lead them anymore. And the question is, what was it? So one of the explanations is that there are two different types of challenges in life. There's what's called a technical challenge and an adaptive challenge. What's the difference between a technical challenge and an adaptive challenge? A technical challenge is when there's some external problem. It's a technical problem, has to be fixed. Something broke, let's say, or there's an issue, and you need to find a solution to fix it. But sometimes the solution is not a technical problem, it's about adapting to new circumstances. So for example, someone goes to the doctor and says they have a problem. So sometimes the doctor says, I see what the problem is, you have a leaky valve, we're going to do a surgery, everything's going to be good. Or we'll give you this medicine, you'll be okay. Sometimes the doctor says, look, I got news for you. You're overweight, you're out of shape, you're getting older, you need to exercise, you need to eat better, you need to sleep better. It's nothing that we could fix with a technical solution. You have to adopt and change your lifestyle. And that's the most difficult challenges, when the change has to come from within. When it's an outside solution, you come, you fix it, something's broken, somebody comes and solves the problem. That's easy, relatively speaking. But when it's something that we have to learn how to make changes in our lives, that's very challenging. So Moshe Rabbeinu was able to deal with all the challenges. Pharaoh, 10 plagues, no problem. Even the golden calf, it was a technical issue. The Jews miscalculated. They thought Moshe wasn't coming back. They made a mistake. Okay, they went into panic mode. They worshipped the golden calf. But now it's time for the Jews to start changing. They have to get out of that slave mentality and start thinking like free people and stop complaining about everything and stop putting the burden on Moshe all the time, but to take responsibility for their own lives. When Moshe sees they're incapable of changing, they're stuck in their own mentality, and they're not willing to evolve and adopt to this new free lifestyle in the desert, at that point he says, I can't help these people anymore. I can't lead them if they're not willing to take the efforts to change. And this is so true in many areas of life. Others can help us when it's an external technical problem. You could call in an expert, you could go to someone who has the answers, and they could solve your problems and help you solve problems. But when it's in your hands, the greatest leader, Moshe Rabbeinu, says, I can't help him. You got to do this yourself. It's not something that I could just come and wave a magic wand and fix for you. You have to adapt to these circumstances and learn how to find the strength. And that's why, what does God tell Moshe? Don't despair, don't retreat, don't ask to be put out of your misery. On the contrary, what they need is more spiritual leadership, to have the wherewithal to make those changes in their lives. And so God tells Moshe, appoint 70 elders and let them help you teach and inspire the people, because the only way they're going to change is if they get that internal spiritual infusion of Torah that will give them the inspiration and the guidance to make those changes on their own. But ultimately, they will make the change only if they have more leadership, not less leadership. And that's what God tells Moshe to do. Continue the spiritual leadership. Yes, it may take 40 years, but eventually they'll get there. If not them, their children. And through persistence and patience, we could prevail. The story told about a young woman who was once in a meeting with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And she told the Rebbe that she has a problem. And what's a problem? She's a very selfish person. She's self-centered. She was a young woman learning in a local girls' school. She said, I really don't like myself too much because I only think about myself, and I recognize I have this problem. What should I do? And she thought the Rebbe would give us some blessing, some remedy, some special solution to this problem. And the Rebbe said, you have to start changing. And the way to change is, the Rebbe said, this is a girl learning in Crown Heights. She was in a girls' dormitory. The Rebbe said, this is what I want you to do. Every night when the girls go into the social hall for dinner and everyone goes to get their food, I want you to be the last person to sit down to eat dinner. First, go around and make sure everyone has what they need. Offer people spoons, forks, knives, a glass of water, napkins, whatever you see someone's missing, bring food to the table. Only after you've looked around and made sure everyone has what they need, then you go get your food. And by doing practical things to start action-based changes in your life, slowly but surely you will change your inner persona and you'll become a less selfish person, a less self-centered person, and more of a selfish person, a selfless person. And that's what God tells Moshe Rabbeinu, don't give up on the Jewish people. Keep on giving them that spiritual guidance and teach them how to make those changes internally.